Technology. He will show us very interesting things today.
Thank you. So, we're just like a family. This is, believe me, good for me. I feel less stressed that way. So, since we're going to be together for the next 50 minutes or so, let me introduce myself. I'm Ntouros. I'm here to talk to you about the less you see of me, the better it is. I'm here to talk to you about technology in language teaching, or technology in the language classroom, or technology in the language classroom and beyond it. This is what we're going to discuss now. So, technology in education is here. I don't know, maybe some of you have been using some modern tools of technology. Have you?
Yes, I do.
Like?
And all the web tools.
Web. Any other materials? I mean, interactive whiteboards and stuff?
Interactive whiteboards.
Are they helpful? This is not the case for everyone, believe me.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, the part of many, I'll show you some statistics afterwards. Are you happy with them?
Interactive whiteboards.
Okay.
Yes, of course I am. As long as we are not over using them.
I'm going to discuss this further, and you'll understand what I mean here. Okay. So, interactive whiteboards, electronic books, of course, the web. If you're familiar with these things, then as they're here, you're familiar with things like that, or like that, or even like that. They're not new to you. Okay. However, contemporary language learners, children of the 21st century, not only accept the use of such tools, they demand it. And they demand the use of such digital technology in the classroom and outside. And we have to bear this in mind. So, look at this, please. This is a term which has been discussed extensively nowadays. Technophobia. Avoid it. Technophobia and language teaching are totally incompatible. You're lost if you are technophobic. What I mean is this. There are teachers, quite often supported by parents, who operate in a more traditional way. I could also say that this is a rather old-fashioned way. And there is a strong resistance among educators all over the world against technology in education. I really don't understand this, and we'll discuss it further. There is an estimation that worldwide, only 14 to 15% of educators use technology. And I really wonder what happens with the rest, 85 to 86%.
Very sorry to interrupt you.
I really don't know why is this. Do they just feel confident using tools of an older generation? Do they just feel confident when they use course books they're familiar with? Maybe.
They are very easy. We don't need a lot of preparation, just as Suzanne said before in the previous lecture.
We're going to discuss this further, yes. Maybe. But there's no progress this way. Let me deviate a bit and describe something I experienced about 10 days ago. The 26th of October, there was a webinar. You may be familiar with this term. This is a web seminar, and believe me, this is something that is going to spread. Held by the Oxford University Press, by their headquarters in London. in which Guy Cook, you may have heard of his name, he's a very well-known educator and author, discussed the use of mother tongue in the language classroom. There were 42 attendees from all over the world. I was one. There were people from Greece, Cyprus, France, Italy, Russia, Switzerland, Geneva, if I remember correctly, Brazil, Egypt, Malaysia, India. I was excited, and I'll explain why. We attended this through our computer screens, of course. The 2/3 of the screen, sorry I touched something, I'm in between cables, which makes me feel somehow. I normally move a lot when it's. The 2/3 or more than that, on the right side of the screen, were his board, where he could project his PowerPoint file, he could write anything he liked or whatever. In the top left-hand corner, we could see him talk. It was there. Just under that, there was the list of the participants, of the attendees, let's say. Names and countries. Under that, there was a box, a chat box. Before Guy Cook started his seminar, there was an OUP representative who asked us to use this chat box, and they said it was the first time they had ever used something like that, so they didn't know what the response would be. You can't imagine the flow of comments throughout the session. It was fantastic. Whatever he said, we could comment on. And it was magic. Because in, let's say, in the flesh seminars like this one, being respectful, you can't disturb them. You can't even, if you find something exciting or whatever, you can't even comment on it to someone sitting next to you. If I give you some time, maybe you'll respond, or at the end, or something. This was not the case there. And this was the good thing about it. Anything he said, based on our own individual teaching needs, we could comment. Anything. I found out that the guy from Malaysia, if I remember correctly, teaches groups of 85 people at the same time. Which is nice. India or such stuff. Because we said what we meant to comment on anyway. And at the same time, he could see these things. And he could deviate also. He could comment on a comment. He could answer a question. He could make a remark. Anything. Anything. We had to give an instant feedback at the end of the session. And everyone at least sounded excited. And so was I. Why I'm saying this is this. Of course, something like that wouldn't have been feasible without the technology in question. You understand this? A couple of hours later, the very same day, I got a phone call from a publisher, from an ELT publisher. They were conducting a survey, and they wanted me to answer 10 questions or something, based on some unofficial feedback they had got from teachers, saying that was it. Students have gone off modern tools of technology, like interactive whiteboards, and they were wondering whether they should go on investing in such materials or get back to normal, traditional course books. I was really puzzled. On the very same day, it sounded that strange. I wouldn't believe it.
Excuse me, Yannick, was this call from abroad?
Pardon me?
Was the call from
No.
abroad?
And it's a Greek publisher. Yes,
okay.
it was from Athens. But it's just...
Yeah, Oxford.
Pardon me?
Was it the OUP office?
No.
No, it was another.
This was the same one. No. It was not one.
Okay, it was another.
Nothing to do with this. It was a Greek publisher. Based on Athens.
Yeah.
There's no point in mentioning this.
What did you answer?
Of course, if you work in that whiteboard, if you have invested in one, and all you do is just insert a CD-ROM which practically depicts the coursebook there, this is not enough. After some time, you'll get bored, and students will get bored as well. This is not what you have. This is how you use what you have. And I really wonder if educators nowadays are intimidated or overwhelmed by this bulk of technology. Maybe they feel somehow. So I come to what I said before. You can't be technophobic. You can't be, and you have to exploit what you've got in hand. Sorry. This one. What I've said so far brings us to this. I would like you to watch a 2-minute video, and we'll discuss it. Sound. I know they're connected, but I don't know.
Much better.
Let me try again.
It's not just me. No, because when I go
They want to teach me in school. Is this what you're going to use to teach me that? Is this what you're going to use to teach me that? Do you know how to use a computer? Do you know how to use a computer? Are you a teacher? Are you my teacher? Are you going to teach me using the internet? Are you going to teach me how to sit on the internet? Do you know what goes on the internet? You sure you're my teacher? You sure you're my teacher? Are you going to learn how to use the technology? I'm a digital native. Do computers scare you? Are you afraid to use them? Have you been on Facebook? Have you been on Twitter? Have you been surfing? Do you even know what's on the internet? Are you going to be my teacher? Or just that test? Because I want to know what the world has to offer. And if you're not on the internet, know nothing about computers, you can't be my teacher. I said you can't be my teacher. Someone who knows how to use the internet. You think I'm going to be ready? You think I'm going to be ready? You think you're preparing me for the world that I have to live in? Do you think I'm going to be ready? Let's go! Let's go!
What do you think? Can you test this pen? Can you? It's frightening, isn't it? I mean, this is the modern era, and these are the children of the 21st century, and they're considered to be digital natives, whereas we are digital immigrants, and there's a struggle, believe me, there is a struggle. There is a struggle from our side, trying to incorporate ourselves into their world, into the digital natives world. Otherwise, we will not be accepted. Otherwise, we will not be able to work with them. What's this also? Talking about digital natives and immigrants. Digital natives versus digital immigrants. So, apart from what we mentioned so far, there is one more tool whose potential seems to be endless today. And of course, I'm talking about Web 2. It's got an endless potential as it offers an inexhaustible supply of natural English input. But, there's always a but in good things. Implementing Web 2 in language teaching requires time, effort, patience, and above all, resources. Take a good note of it. I'm going to come back to it later. And this last one, I hope, did not sound as a threat. Web 2, what can it offer? It allows the web to function as a platform. This is important. Which means what? Turning from software to infoware. Infoware, I don't know if you're familiar with the term. This is new term, new jargon actually. Infoware means software-like applications, free and accessible from any computer on the internet. Right, Spark? Web 2 focuses on providing services rather than products. I mean, this is what the traditional web does. It eases communication. It encourages participation. And also, it encourages user contributions. Students are empowered to create more English in their lives, which is important, but also teachers have more tools available to creatively engage their students. And at the same time, teachers have more opportunities for their own professional development, among many, many other things. Web 2 encourages social networks. Why do you think Facebook or Twitter are so popular nowadays? And believe me, they're very popular.
So can I just ask a really dumb question? What was Web 1?
The traditional web, the way you just turn on, you find a newspaper and read an article. That was it. Right. You click on Britannica and you find some information you need.
You use content, whereas with Web 2 you create content.
This is the difference.
So we've had Web 2
We'll discuss productive skills now.
We've had it for like 2-3 years. Web 2. How long have we had Web 2?
More than
that.
Since YouTube.
Since
YouTube.
Since Facebook or blogs?
Yeah, blogging.
We'll discuss this. We're coming also. Web 2 can transform learners who are web users from, this is the key, passive readers into creators, enhancing, apart from the receptive skills, their productive ones. And this is the key. You very well know that in non-English speaking countries, like Greece, opportunities to practice the productive skills, especially speaking outside the language classroom, are scarce. This gives you many opportunities. In Web 2, learners can. For a couple of minutes, I would like you to think about this as a question. List a few things, and then we'll compare what you've come up with to my list. Think, what do you think learners can do Web 2 after what we've discussed so far? 1 or 2 minutes, and then you let me know. Or if you like, what would you like them to be able to do?
You make another discussion then?
Why not?
Think about it,
Yeah.
and I was expecting that you would come up with a list. Anything, yes. What would you expect? Yes, please.
They have a chat on Facebook with friends who are there who use the language.
Of course.
They can download videos from YouTube, seven material,
Fine.
text, etc. articles.
Fine.
Upload.
Upload. Create.
Post, post and comment and take ownership of what they say as well.
The feedback of the students, of
And they-
their classmates.
And they can keep records of what they do in class, and like journals. Penzu is a very good
This
site.
is very important.
Penzu is an excellent site for that, because they can
Mhm.
send you the email of what they've recorded, and they can do vocabulary, they can do it on, on a vocabulary, and they can look up words with like lingro, that's excellent. Where they can actually have
You're
their
right.
own word list
Mhm.
that they can then keep on their computer and use and write new sentences and just traditional things we used to do traditionally with paper and pen, they can do it electronically.
Okay. I mentioned the word resources and I said I would come back to it, and actually this is, you'll understand what I mean. In Web 2 learners, simple things. Let's list them one by one.
Yeah.
They can receive and submit homework. They can upload stories and they can embellish such stories with photos, videos, MP3s. MP3s. I decided to give you a more approachable term. When I say MP3s, I mean podcasts. Podcasts, along with blogs and wikis, are the main features of Web 2. They can chat, and if we're there, they can chat in protected environments, and this is important. We all know that this is one of the main problems of the internet. They can create a collaborative blog, or they can create their own blog. This is production, of course. And all these things, among many others, believe me, lead us to this. There's been a word behind me all those years I've been teaching English. They lead us to a fundamental principle in language learning. We, as educators, should always struggle to do what? Huh? To motivate. This is the key word, the magic word. It's a nightmare. Especially today. Maintain learners' motivation. You need to keep your students motivated. Otherwise, you lost them, and you lost the game. But how can teachers expect their students to be motivated if they themselves are not motivated or motivational? How can they expect their students to be inspired if they themselves are not inspired or inspirational?
Yeah, and I think what you said about technophobia, I would say it's more teachers who demotivate than phobic.
Yeah.
But they simply say this is too much work, because it is more work.
We'll
You
discuss.
have to do your homework. I mean, there's no way you can.
We'll discuss workload now. Yes. Yes, you're right. There's a point. So, Web 2 is fully interactive, and therefore it's democratic. It is democratic because it provides opportunities to all users, to all learners. Now, the opposite side. Educators who rely on traditional language teaching could claim that Web 2 is not essential. And you know something? You may be right. This is not essential. You can get by without Web 2. But they cannot deny, no one can deny, that it offers unique learning opportunities that encourage creativity and self-expression. Productive skills, in other words, again. It doesn't mean that receptive skills are not of similar importance. However, they can more easily be practiced in the traditional web as well. That's why I focus on productive skills mainly, because I guess I care for them, and I guess you also do the same thing. Now, in other words, all these things allow your students to interact, and this is what you should expect. Let them interact. Don't let them stay there as passive listeners or readers or whatever you give them. Read this, please. This is a quotation I very much like. I know this is lunchtime and I wouldn't like to get once of your time. Once students have experienced for themselves what is possible, they are then positioned to care for their own language learning needs beyond the confines of the institution and its school calendar. How finely has it? Let them interact. Let them take their language learning. Okay. We're a bit out of time because I have been told it would be 50.
10 minutes
By
is a long
some
time.
weeks.
Keep going, John. I mean, come on, give me a break.
Actually, I needed a bit longer than that. Anyway, he has finally put it there, but not much time. Anyway, I'm going to present you with a Web 2 digital platform I've been using for some time now. I'm quite satisfied with it. And I need to stress at this point that this is not a commercial presentation. This is what I've known, this is what I have been using, this is what I can present. Just this. Apart from the traditional web tools like dictionaries, quizzes, games, etc., it incorporates all Web 2 tools, which facilitate what? Not much time for feedback now, unfortunately. Online homework tasks, messages, talking dictionaries, tailor-made quizzes and games, readers online, video sharing, photo sharing, real-time chat in protected environments again, production of individual projects or collaborative projects, personal blogs, collaborative class blogs, but now I think I've turned from a lecture into a nice side test.
Yes, yes. Loads of, let's just say loads of things.
Okay. This is it. Now, for some minutes anyway, actually I
I
wanted
think
to...
we can stay 5 minutes longer.
Just
It's Sunday afternoon.
do it. 10
This is
minutes is a
lunchtime.
long
You have
time.
10
Pick up
minutes,
the
come
pace.
on.
Come on, let's go.
Okay, so we're moving into the internet. I'll enter the internet as a teacher. This is Club EFL. Maybe you've heard of this. It's been going on for some years. I don't know really what to start with. I'll have to use my mouse here because I can't touch things there, which will bring us a bit behind. There's everything here. There is an online content dictionary. Why I'm showing this to you? Our connection is okay. This is something, a nice thing, believe me. For example, you upload anything you like there, because there are things you can make as teachers. They can, for example, listen to a song with the lyrics, yes, and then there is a set of